when we first got the candidate, I would go like this. I was learned, here's the resume. I toss it off. Now I'd sit there and to the person, I said, I'm just going to talk. We're going to talk for 30 minutes. I'm going to get to know you. You're going to get to know me. By the time we're done, we'll know everything about each other. And at first I thought that was a little weird, but let me tell you, I love it.
Yeah.
Because everything comes out. You could see they're relaxed right off the bat. Wow. You're not looking at my resume, because it says here, whether you believe it or not, it's like within the first 15 seconds, somebody can decide whether they like the person in their interviewers.
That's very true. It's very true. I actually do agree with that. And the same thing with resumes. I can scan a resume and in 10 seconds tell you whether or not I want to talk to that person or not. And a lot of that is, do I see confidence come out? There's always some little thing. There's just a lot of little things I've learned to pick up on over the years. It really is amazing, though, how many people do that stupid thing of going line by line in a resume to ask their interview questions. I'm like, that's why they gave you the resume to begin with. That's another reason that resumes are dumb, is that people just then use them as a crutch. Well, instead, sit there and say, okay, I know the meat and potatoes. Now tell me who you are. Tell me about that. And because resumes can't tell you who a person is.
Right.
So just, focus on that aspect. And that's really what matters anyway, because a lot of the rest of that stuff can be learned. The other bad thing about resumes too, that this is a pet peeve, and this just came to mind, is this fixation, and a lot of it's caused by resumes, is this fixation of years of experience. Folks, that is a completely 100% irrelevant aspect of a candidate. What you should be asking is, what level of expert are you? What skills do you have? Who are you and what can you do? Because let me tell you something. You can do something, and you're going to know this from personal experience, David. I know. You can be doing something for 20 years and think out loud at it. You can do something for 2 years and be a rock star at it.
Well, that's where I get some of the candidates asking all the time. Like, one of my questions to you would be, what do you tell somebody? Listen, we all know what's going on in the world. We all know it. But being overqualified, I've seen some resumes are like 4 pages. So listen, I'm not an expert in the other types of fields and like IT, and I don't pretend to be, because I look at them like, what the heck does this mean? If you don't know,
takes a while to figure out.
Yeah, because I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you tell people in that type of industry to back it off a little bit? Because it's a book. I didn't even read it.
IT people are fascinating. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of them have figured out that if they don't have certain terminologies in their resume, that they won't be picked up. And actually, that is true. So a lot of ATSs will not flag you as a good candidate if you don't have certain keywords,
certain words, job,
and recruiters won't find you in the database, so on and so forth. So that's part of it. The other part is that a lot of IT professionals, their brains work very differently, and they focus on data and facts. And so their way of communicating, look, I know how to do so many things, is instead of, going detailed into descriptions and kind of doing the emotional side of it, which would be appealing for like a marketing person or salesperson, they're going to tell you all the technologies and what they built. That's another one that you can get. They will tell you what they built, how they built it, that type of thing. And so a lot of IT resumes go whoosh right over. A lot of people.
Well, I'd like to know, I feel like when I look at some resumes, and I learned is, I want to ask a question about you. When I see it short, and so I'd be like, all right, she fits a couple different things, but it's not all there. So that's where I tell people, try to make it interesting about yourself to grab that person to say, let's talk to the candidate, because again, you can't assume, when I talk to you about being only half qualified and if they're overqualified, I stop right now, because everything that's going on, you don't have to explain why.
What is overqualified though?
Ask me anything. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? I got to get her husband on the show. We're doing a great show. He goes hunting everywhere, all around. He's got some great.
Love it.
Oh, it's going to love you. But what do you tell? I mean, what do you recommend?
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, I know. She always does that to me. She comes in there and she jumps in, and I'm like, she's done that to me a couple times. If you're overqualified, listen, the way everything is going on right now,
Right.
I don't believe, I'm sorry, you cannot assume why they're applying for this position because you don't know whether
Yeah.
they're
What
laid
What
off or
even is
no.
overqualified? What is that? I don't even know what
I have
that
no
means.
clue.
That is it. What that means is I'm afraid that you're going to take my job.
Yes.
That's what that means. Because let me tell you, I have had people work under me that have been had been directors, that had been entrepreneurs. In fact,
Right.
my newest member of my team used to be one of my clients and made insane quantities of money as an entrepreneur. And now he's working with me because he wants to. He loves sales. He loves what we do and wants to help us grow. Who am I to tell him this job isn't for you?
Right. I know.
You know,
that makes a lot of sense. And
you know,
that's why.
so my advice to circle back, my advice to candidates is, like David said, make your resume interesting. Okay. Break the regular format. Talk about in each job at the very top, talk about the exciting stuff that you did and the cool stuff that you did, and give quantifiable, measurable aspects. So say, I increased sales by 26% by coming up with this creative new app for us, or whatever
Right.
it is. But do quantifiables and do things that are exciting and where you can feel the emotion coming through and the enthusiasm coming through. And that will intrigue them so much that they'll have to reach out to you.
They'll have to. I've happened to me 3 times already. We found 3 qualified candidates that weren't just right there. If you want to say what is there.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, how can an HR director, how can somebody say, no, they're not qualified, they're missing something? Or character can't be shown, but you can train. I think today's day is you need, listen, everybody's complaining that there's no candidates. I get it.
Well,
but
there are. Here's what's funny. So I want to stop because this is, you just hit the nail on the head, and I was waiting for this to come up in the conversation, and I knew that it would. So we just talked about overqualified and
Right.
the IT resumes. It just goes on and on and on. But then on the other side, people go, well, you're not supposed to list every single thing you can do. But then I'm going to tell you that you're not qualified because you didn't say on your resume that you can't do this.
Thank you.
It's such a catch-22. How is anybody supposed to get that right?
Yes.
How am I just supposed to guess? And then you hear this idiotic answer. Well, you should be customizing your resume for every single job to which you apply.
They have 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
HR people, if you expect that, again, you should not be in HR, and you are probably on some really fun drugs, because there's no way that anyone has the time to do that, or that
Right.
anybody would even begin to understand, because a lot of job descriptions will say this is our priority when really this thing 5 lines down is the priority. So when you're not even giving them good job descriptions, how in the world are they supposed to match that? Oh, and then one of mine, it was, I forget which company it was. Anyway, I was trying to find here it is. And the ladders, that's where I found this. On the ladders, they were talking about how companies then get upset if you copy paste wording from the job description into your resume.
I've heard
and basically
that.
change it to like, I can do XYZ, as opposed to, and I'm going, so you want them to match themselves up to it, but they can't use the words that you use, and you want them to have all the keywords, but they shouldn't say too much. And their skill section should be really robust, but your resume needs to only be 2 pages, and nobody can win.
And you don't have it all.
Crazy. Yeah.
And I didn't think of it that way.
It's a nutty experience. Candidates can't possibly succeed with this ridiculous expectation and system that has been presented to them.
That's the same thing with the salary, because when I sent this resume over, right, and say the person wants 75 to 80,000, well, the job's only paying 60. Well, that's what they want. So, but as soon as you sent that resume, they were like, no, this is what their salary. No, we can't pay that high. That doesn't mean you have to pay that high, because you don't assume the other person's just saying, because when we went back to the camp, they were saying, no, I will take it. But you just missed out maybe on one candidate that was really good, and you just made sense, which I didn't think about it as the higher up the IT jobs, and that is you don't have 1 or 2 words on there. Maybe that person does know it, but has never gotten the chance to explain that I do know it.
Right. It's just this infinite. I mean, if I put on a resume, and I actually tried to do this once, and after 3 hours, I quit trying to put every single thing I knew how to do and some sort of detail proving it. It's just insurmountable. It becomes this long, and I can't even remember now how many pages it got to, but after 3 hours, I was well past 20 pages. And I'm going, how is anyone supposed to do this? And this was the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Oh. Like, there's just not a good way to do this with a document. People cannot be surmised in a document. It can't be done. I think LinkedIn gets us a little closer. I love the idea of pictures and video and content because that tells you how a person thinks, right? I would much rather a person apply with their LinkedIn profile than anything else, because if they're active on it, which everyone should be, by the way, post, comment, all that, because then I can learn more about them. And
that's how I learned about yourself. Even some of my guests, I go back through all their post activity, and if they haven't, I read them and listen to the videos. I'm like, oh, okay. That's what draws me to get to Canada, because you just say it like it is. That's what I liked about you. You're honest. You're honest. Isn't that great? Because I like to be honest, and that's what drew me towards when you were talking about what you wanted. But what do you say to, like, I had a chef, okay, chef. Yeah. He was looking to get into the warehousing because now right there I would have stopped. I would have been normal. I've been like, no, what are you going to do? Why would you be a chef for 15 years? And then when I get in, I didn't, once he started talking, he said, Dave, I'm tired, because my brother does. I'm tired of working the weekends. I have 3 kids. I want to see them. I've been furloughed a lot. And every time I go for a job, everybody's going to say, well, you're going to go back to, you're going to assume he's going to go back to chef because he's in a warehouse. But he wants to
nobody ever heard of burnout? Like, I've left several industries and gone, done.
That's it. I do it every day with friggin' staffing because it drives me friggin' nuts.
I have quit recruiting more times because I just can't do it anymore. And, I think that for people, first of all, when you want to make a change to an industry, because I see this a lot, people will declare, I want, including this gentleman here, I want to move to this industry because I want more time with my family, or because it's remote. Well, there are a lot of industries that fit into that. Why do you need this one? Do you even need this one? Are you just picking this one because you saw that they were hiring a lot? What is your motivation? If you're going into a whole new industry and you're targeting that industry, it needs to be because of a passion.
Right.
I need to be in this because I have this burning desire. With otherwise,
you had me just thinking a different way there.
Yeah, because seriously, otherwise, why pick that industry? Just pick. What you need to do is go, I need jobs that do XYZ. I need jobs that service XYZ of my life. Outside of that, don't really care.
Right.
And then pursue companies that will align and that will understand what you're going through. And you can always find people that want to train, people, jobs that want new people, that want fresh blood. I get that from clients all the time. Yeah. I need these skills and I don't want anybody from my industry.
Yep.
I want all new. So another great option is to go through a recruiter. Now be careful who you go through. There are some shady people out there.
Yeah, you get that. You do.
Yeah, but reach out. And also, if you want to make a big career transition like that, somebody like David, somebody like an Andy Cook or an Anna Morgan, who specialize in helping people do pivots like that, find you a specialist, and a lot of them are not very expensive, and they will help you pivot successfully, because it is a hard
thing to sell the candidate. I try to sell. Don't assume. I always just stop. Listen to me. Just listen to me. Look at the skill set of this person. Look, if they're in customer service, people say customer service reps. Well, they're in working at a retail, or they're, working at hospitality. Well, let me tell you, they're great freaking customer service reps because they put up with everybody yelling and screaming and hollering. So why not take that person and they have 2 to 3 years steady employment, but yet, they're work at retail. So what? But I try to sell it to the clients that way, but sometimes then I don't blame them. I don't care. Suffer, then don't find anybody. Don't train somebody. Just get out. I don't want you.
Yeah, some people, I mean, some companies are stubborn. What can you do? But you will find that if you have an advocate that
Right.
can help explain you, and that's another reason not to use resumes, because, well, now you're just looking at the last companies and their titles. Well, let me tell you something. I have worked in the past with Bank of America, and who's a big reputable company, and somebody will see one of their people and go, oh, they were a VP of sales or VP of product marketing. Oh my gosh, this is such a high level person from Bank of America. I should totally bring them onto my company as a VP. Let me explain something to you. Bank of America will call anyone a VP.
Right.
When you walk in there, you start as an AVP, an assistant vice president, and then you get promoted to VP, which does not mean you're actually the vice president of anything. It's just a title. Titles don't mean squat.
Right.
Look at what somebody can do. And that's why I just want to get rid of that aspect of it and just show this is what I can do, because that's all that matters.
All right. So if you had to, we're going to wrap it up. So if you had to say, recommend what you, oh God, blah, blah, blah. You can tell it's live.
You of us can talk today. It's okay.
I know you're live, but if you could give anybody some advice on what to do on a resume for now, and then explain to people what you're doing with your vision, and you're starting the ATS. And I want to hit that, what you're doing. And then we'll follow, if you can do that, and we'll follow it up.
First of all, the devil resume, if you've got to have one, okay? So first of all, make sure your email is appropriate, and also make sure that it is either a Google or a Yahoo. For some reason, people, especially Google, just try to really and truly just stick to Google. That's what people are looking for. That's kind of the in domain to have. Then don't do a long paragraph summary. Right. One line of objective. That's it. I recommend having your skills at the top and highlighting your hard skills that you're the best at, and having your soft skills in the second half of that section. So soft skills are things like leadership,
right,
customer service, things like that. Have those be second. At the top of each job description, brag on yourself. Yeah. These are my accomplishments. This is what I did, and make them quantifiable, meaning using actual numbers. And if you don't think that you have any, you're wrong. And please message me and I will help you find your quantifiables.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, quantifiable? What is that?
The quantifiables is like, okay, so I increased sales by 76%. Okay. I improved billing by 34%. Quantifiables.
So then you can back it up.
Yeah, and then make sure exactly, your backup. That's exactly what it is. So brag on yourself and have the backup to do it. And don't use a weird font, okay? Use Calibri, not Calibri like Calibri,
right,
or Arial or Times New Roman, and do not use itty bitty teeny tiny print. It should be 11 font, 11 point or larger.
All the way through. And before we wrap this up, I wanted to tell you, when you said about short things about yourself, summaries, the reason it was, I had an intern, Taylor, and she came up with it, and I'm going to give her credit. But staffing done differently. That's my staffing. All I have to do is put that on, staffing done differently. When you think about that, it means he must be doing something different than everybody else. But I gave her the credit. So I use it. Staffing done. I really like that. It's a summary.
I like it. I do. Yeah, I do like that.
And I'm excited now. I want you to talk about the new ATS and your
my ATS. All right, so we've been talking about monster ATSs earlier in the show, right? And how they filter everybody out and how they create all this bias because all they do is focus on resumes and dates and things like that. Well, I, on the way to the airport at 4:30 in the morning several months ago, decided that I could do it better, even though I've never been in technology in my life. And I partnered with a wonderful developer who has even done projects for the CDC and things like that. And we have developed together a wonderful ATS that does fire the resume, helps you create an effective candidate profile that truly shows off who you are, helps you match yourself to the job. And it actually blocks your name, your phone number, your email, all of that until you say, yes, I give them permission to know who I am. So it puts a little bit more control back in the candidate hands. And that will be ready for the general public at the end of March. And we're having a limited preview at the end of this month. So
then I'll be talking to you then, because I know I want to see it. So we'll bring you on again and discuss that on the whole show, because I know that's your passion. And like I said, I want to thank you, because I always enjoyed from our last talk. It's nice to get people to come back and build a relationship, because I've learned a lot from you. You know,
Oh,
just
and
some
vice
you're
versa.
crazy on your post, which I love it. You know, because it's not being negative, but it's
No.
telling the truth.
Yeah,
It's
just
being
call out
honest.
the nonsense. Call out the nonsense. And just so you know, folks, I do my research. I will always cite my facts and where they come from. I will never just blurt out something. You'll always know where it comes from. And also, I want the same. I want feedback, guys. If you disagree with me, come talk to me about it. Let's do
That's
it.
what I do.
I'm
You
all
know,
about
and
it. Yeah.
I've picked up
Keep
some
me something.
clients. You know, picked up some clients now reaching out, and when the person says they say because you're different, I'm like, oh no, what does that mean? I'm different. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh boy,
I just had some people connect with me over my mental health episode and potential client.
right?
And one of the things they said, we just like that you're being so blunt about this and you're just talking about it and just putting it out there. I'm like, yeah, because it's not that big of a deal and people need to destigmatize and stop freaking out all the time.
It is. So, all right, everybody. But, you know, reach out to Catherine McCord. She's all the way. I love it in Florida. St. Lucie. What's that? St. Lucie.
Port
Right?
St. Lucie.
And it's so like 80 degrees probably, right?
It's like 82. Yeah.
All right. Well, her email, everything is on here. And thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you soon again, Catherine. So much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a blast.
We're going to take you out on this.